10 more creepy monsters in film. Hey guys, Culture here. Today we're going to be talking about 10 more creepy monsters in film. More specifically, we'll look at what makes them creepy and the movie worlds that they inhabit.
I just want to say up front that Culture does not wet the bed.
What? Of course I don't. No one said I did.
Exactly. And that's the official stance that we, the United Front of CultureCrash, are putting forward.
Yes, because it's the truth, Crash.
Reach into the converted, buddy.
Anyway, let's get into this. Number 1. The Host or Guomol, 2006. South Korea is known for its ability to create memorable horror films such as Memento Mori and Train to Busan. In Ju Hoo-bong's Guomol, or The Host, released in 2006, a medical examiner dumps an unusually large amount of old formaldehyde into the Han River. What emerges next is a giant, creepy, mutated fish monster with bulbous eyes, a flower petal-shaped mouth,
and some sweet backflip skills.
The fish mutant creature snatches people up with its prehensile tail, while swallowing another victim whole to eventually be regurgitated later for a midnight snack. One particularly gruesome scene shows the monster vomiting what appears to be hundreds upon hundreds of human bones atop its already growing pile of living and dead humans.
I've always been an advocate for the environment, and this just shows how pollution can lead not only to dangerous water supplies, but also mutant creatures that eat people. Global warming is real, folks! Save the polar bears, and the whales, and raccoons, and...
Number 2. Ghoulies II, 1988. Not every horror film needs a realistic or even scary monster. That's where Ghoulies 2 comes into play. The toilet ghoulie is a horrible little creature that lurks within one of the most sacred places known to man, the privy. Or Jack's, porcelain throne, loo, lavatory, whatever you want to call the toilet, this little creepy goblinoid waits until you're most vulnerable before literally ripping you a new one.
A new what? Oh, a new anus. You mean anus. I get it now. He meant anus, everyone!
Crash, stop screaming about anus. Yeah, I wish this was the first time I'd said that. The toilet ghoulie is so creepy that it makes you look twice before getting down to business in the middle of the night. Jeez. That came out wrong as well. Let's just move on. Number 3. The Taking of Deborah Logan, 2014. While there are undeniably a large array of monsters in film and other forms of entertainment, it's hard to deny one of the most horrific, ourselves. Humans are capable of incredibly odious things like, creating creepy, scary monsters. However, nothing is more terrifying than the decay of the human mind. In The Taking of Deborah Logan, a psychologist and her film team spend several months with a woman suffering from nearly debilitating Alzheimer's, documenting the impact of the disease not only on the patient, but on the family as well. As the story progresses and Deborah Logan's mind deteriorates, her bizarre behavior begins leaving the realm of psychological and becomes, something only Crash could think up.
I'll take that as a compliment. I've seen the ending, and it's a doozy.
The Taking of Deborah Logan makes this list due to its frighteningly personal and compelling tale of a very real, very terrifying disease that could happen to anyone. There's just enough realistic gore and a dash of otherworldly possession that makes sweet little old Deborah one of the creepiest monsters in modern film. Number 4. Stranger Things, 2016. As with our last monster list, this next creature isn't in a film, but it certainly warrants a mention for being a creepy monster. In case you haven't already heard enough about the show, Stranger Things is set in a small town in the 1980s. The town is flipped upside down after a group of boys playing Dungeons & Dragons find themselves caught up in the mystery of finding their friend after his strange disappearance. Enter the Demogorgon of Stranger Things, a humanoid, flappy-mouthed, viscous-coated predator with no actual face, dozens of teeth, and sharp claws on every appendage.
Sounds like my stepmother. Am I right, people? Oh no. I've become an old comedian from the 80s. They'll never let me do stand-up at universities again!
Sensitive to the scent of human blood, this hunter from down under not only consumes its prey after dragging them into its cold, dark, damp dimension, it also implants... it doesn't seem pleasant. Number 5. Basket Case, 1982. The 1982 cult classic horror comedy Basket Case deserves a mention on this list. The movie is known for its rather dramatic death scenes and senseless gore, but the star of the film is the man that lives in a basket. Belial Bradley is the deformed remains of his normal-looking conjoined twin brother, Dwayne. Forcefully separated at an early age, Belial is filled with rage and envy, and the two brothers plot out their means to exact revenge on the doctors that performed their procedure. Carried around in a woven basket, Belial is released and allowed to violently carry out his desires despite being a small lump of flesh and bones. His appearance is abhorrent, with stubby arms protruding from the sack of flesh that is strong enough to hold a person down or, as in the film, shove their face into a drawer of sharp medical equipment. His razor-sharp pointed teeth are capable of biting off chunks of skin, muscle, and sinew from his enemies, and, with peculiar grace, he is able to leap from his basket onto his victims, taking them by surprise.
Peculiar Grace is the name of my autobiography, by the way.
Despite Belial's lack of human form and function, this is one creepy monster that will be remembered for his over-the-top violence and smile. Number 6. The Babadook, 2014. In horror films, books are often depicted as gateways for otherworldly creatures to enter our own, most often through witchcraft. However, the origins of the Babadook are unknown, which is just one reason why this creepy creature makes our list. After a mysterious pop-up book manifests in the household of a widow, she reads the story to her troubled child, and strange things begin to happen.
If it's in a word or it's in a look, you can't get rid of Babadook. Wait, what? What the fuck is Babadook? So creepy. I love this film. It very much borrows from my own strategy of seducing women.
Ugh. Donning a top hat, black eyes, and a large toothy grin, the well-dressed phantom is capable of possessing its victims and forcing them to carry out murderous tasks for its own deranged pleasure. He lurks around every corner of your home and invades your dreams, turning them into realistic nightmares of horror. The more you think of him, the more power the Babadook gains, until he's able to possess your body and uses you to carry out murderous acts. The sinister undertones of the Babadook's representation as the family's attitude towards their deceased husband and father makes the psychological effect even more devastating. Number 7. The Descent, 2006. There are tons of creepy things to be found in unexplored caves, but the crawlers from The Descent would make anyone consider staying indoors to explore a Minecraft cave instead. The Descent follows the adventure of a group of spelunkers who inevitably get lost deep in the caves of the Appalachian Mountains. After a cave-in, the explorers search for a way out, only to realize that they are slowly being hunted by a group of subterranean beings.
Much like deciding to start a YouTube channel, realizing you've trapped yourselves, then being hunted by trolls. Not that we have any personal experience in this.
These creatures are perfectly adept for surviving in this pitch-black, rocky environment. Not only are the crawlers blind, but they rely heavily on sound and scent to stalk their prey in the dark. Their flesh is void of the usual pigments of humans, but their bodies are a striking reflection of our own. With pointed ears, elongated rodent-like incisors, and mutated vampiric facial features, these crawlers will send you scrambling for the nearest escape rope.
Really? A Pokemon reference? I thought you were better than that, Culture.
Number 8. Cloverfield, 2008. Not all creepy monsters need to be small. Kaiju films pump out some of the most memorable creepy monsters that are larger than life, which is why the humongous creature from Cloverfield makes this list. The Cloverfield monster, named Clover, rages through the streets of New York City. Clover stands roughly 90 meters tall and 365 meters long, with its incredibly slender, double-jointed limbs with clawed, pronged feet. Its tremendously large, fanged mouth is strong enough to chomp a human in half.
This is creepy monsters, Culture, not kaijus. Gotta work harder than that.
Okay, so these qualities of a typical kaiju monster don't really make her that creepy. But what about the hundreds of deep-sea parasites that cover Clover's body? These human-sized parasites are exactly what nightmares are made of. A horrific cross between a crab, a spider, and a cockroach, these nasties possess a far greater threat than Clover herself. One bite from these parasites is enough to cause bleeding from the eyes, vomiting, and abdominal rupture. Victims of the parasite's bite meet their bloody, violent, explosive ends in a matter of minutes. Number 9. Attack on Titan, 2015. Anime is an incredible medium for bringing creepy, monstrous creatures to life. In 2015, the hit show Attack on Titan escaped its paper constraints and burst onto the silver screen. The show features the story of a few young heroes in the military fending off a seemingly endless fleet of undying, indestructible humanoid creatures called Titans. These Titans vary in size from 10 foot tall to skyscraper size. Their eyes are constantly wide with a creepy, permanent grin stretching across their giant face from ear to ear as they pluck up victims effortlessly and tear them in half in a single bite. There doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason for their existence other than to destroy the human race. Swords, bullets, and even fire can't seem to take out the behemoth beings with regenerative powers. That is, unless you're a specially trained, dual-blade wielding soldier using steampunk technology to zip-line around buildings and carve out a very small, very precise section of the neck. With their naked, privateless bodies and constant grinning, the Titans don't seem to care whether or not the humans die and have no real need or purpose in killing them. That fact alone is enough to make them creepy. Number 10. VHS 2, 2013. While found footage film isn't always well executed, VHS 2 leaves us with our final creepy monster. One of the more memorable sequences of the film involves a group of kids, a slumber party, and a camera strapped onto a dog. Throughout the broken recorded footage, the viewer watches horrors unfolding around groups of friends, as one by one they're abducted by aliens. These alien figures are your typical creepy greys, tall, lanky, big black eyes, but what earns them a spot on this list is their calculated methods of ruthless, brute abduction, and the absolutely petrifying sounds they make. Not even Crash makes these sounds at night while screaming at his computer because he keeps losing at PUBG.
No, I'm winning. Those are my victory squeals, and they go like this. Woo!
Victory squeals? Do you even hear yourself sometimes? After watching this film, you'll find yourself triggered by the sound of a train horn in the middle of the night. And that's it for today. If you guys have any other creepy monsters that left an impression on you, let us know in the comments down below.
And stop spreading rumors that culture wets the bed, because it's just not funny anymore, guys. Come on!
Crash, if you keep saying that, then I'll become your worst nightmare.
You heard it here, folks. Culture verbally abusing me. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. See you next week.